Well, I have a habit of doing stupid things. Those are some Bluetti power banks. This is a Cyrusher e-bike. Those are some solar panels. I thought, could I go e-bike packing? E-camping? E-biking in Scotland. And yes, you can. So stay tuned for a collaboration video working with Bluetti power banks and Cyrusher bikes. Last episode we left off me being eaten alive by midges, absolutely annihilated in camp, and going to bed after putting the bike on charge. Right, well, good morning. Let's get up. Right. 0%. So I suspect it's 0% because I left the inverter on, so it flattened out overnight because inverter's on standby. Right. A moment of truth, am I going to get back? 100%. Not a bad location. Right, well, there's a bit of sun, so might get the panels out for a little bit. Well, sun is plugged in. Are we getting anything? There you go. 49 watts currently coming in. So I went out and filmed that little bit of set up the solar panels, checking the bike, and there were no midges about. And now they're out in full force. Midges don't like direct sunlight. They don't like wind. So my thoughts currently are, if I stay here until the sun's a little bit more powerful, all these things will go away. Yeah, I think we'll just wait for the sun to be a bit more intense. I'm in a tent. Right, well, waiting around a few hours. Sun's gone in a little bit, midges are gone, time to break camp. This got to, where are we? 8%, so a little bit of power back. There's enough to charge the drone up and the phones. I wanted to make a brew on my induction stove, but yeah, I shouldn't have left the inverter on. I also planned to get to camp earlier yesterday and start, so I had a couple hours in the evening to recharge it up, but oh well. Right, break camp and get right in. So yesterday's ride was about 25 kilometers and 360 meters of ascent. I'll show you the GPX track. And that took the battery down from 100% to about 25%. And I'm all right with that. The advertised range is 52 miles of this battery. That's going to be under set criteria, which is probably one of power assist 1 or 3 and on flat terrain. I've been using it on power assist 5 and I took it to the Highlands and I've been riding around gravel tracks and I put a heavier pannier on it, so that's definitely going to decrease the range. But for me, I'm very happy with that, because I can just get out and blast around for a couple of hours and have some fun. And the other day I did. I went up a Scottish track, up some forestry roads. In an hour I did 25 kilometers, 700 meters of ascent and descent, and that only took the battery down from 100 to 35%. And that was without all the extra weight on it. So I'm definitely not complaining about range when you've got views like this. Today's plan. Pretty much just going to reverse the route I've done. I do wish it was a circular one and not just back and forth. But so we're going to go back down west along Glen Kinglass, get to the eastern shores of Lochetif and then go south. Now it'll be quite interesting to see if the battery power when I finish this ride today is the same as yesterday, or the same as when I finished yesterday if I'm still on 25%. That's an impressive little waterfall up there. Well, that's the drone battery flat. If only I had some sort of way to charge it. Oh wait, I do. Well, that's me showing. Apparently I can charge the controller via the USB port, but I thought I could charge the drone via its USB port as well. Apparently not. Okay, no more drone. Well, I hope that waterfall shot was worth it. Oh well, let's carry on with the ride. Oh, turn the bike back on, helps. We are back on the shores of Lochetif and making our way back towards the van. So one of the things I will say is I've never owned a bike before with disc brakes or hydraulic brakes, and whilst they are very powerful, I often find that after a few rides they were squeaking a little bit. I presume it's something I can adjust. Does anyone want to enlighten me of how one adjusts these, or what is squeaking or rattling? Because I don't know. Ooh. Bridge, forward, bridge this time. Thought I'd stop for a minute and try something. Right, this is a bit of sun. Thought I'd quickly get the solar panels out, and we're bringing in $162 If it's flickering on the video, that's just how the camera captures it, it's not in reality. So the AC60 uses LiPo 4, 2 UK plugs on it, 600 watt. It's got an uplift mode, which means it can do some slightly higher wattage items. It just will drop the AC voltage. USBs, you got USB-C, USB-A, your standard 12 volt, and your outputs going in. You got your AC charger, you got your solar charge port, which is a maximum of 8 amps from 12 to 28 volt. And on the other side, you've got the options for 2 expansion batteries. I'm just using one, and the expansion battery doesn't have the inverter, but this one is 800 watt hours. This is just over 400. It's also got the light on the back, which we were using last night to attract all the midges. DC port, and then some USBs. And basically, it's just a very simple display. It can work as a power bank independently, but generally you plug it in via the big cable, and that's how you then access it through the app. I would show you the app, but the app seems to require data to access, and there's no signal here, so I can't seem to get into the app, which is a bit surprising. But I am definitely making good use of the IP65 rating. So whilst there is a big fan for the cooling here, from my understanding and looking at the build of the unit, the heatsink is sealed, so the fan blows through, but that doesn't give you access to the inside of the unit. It's just blowing through a heatsink. I guess that's how, and then with all the port covers, I guess that's how they have their IP65 rating. Oh, you've also got a wireless charger on top. I did briefly show you the lights last night, but I was getting mid, so I haven't really explained what I've done. So extra things I added was I added these 2 switches. This one turns on the aux beam lighting, and they run off the bike natively, so this wire, so these switches run down into the bike's usual wiring porthole, down the back where the battery is, and then in here is a bit of a cavity where the speed controller is. So I've then run a 48 volt, this is a 52 volt battery, which is a 48 volt to 60 volt step down converter. So that steps it down to 12 volt, which is what those lights run off. And then I've hidden the wiring loom for those lights and its relay inside there, and I've run the cable up to there so you can turn it on and off. Right, well, it's gone cloudy again. Funny that in Scotland. But from this morning's little charge and little charge in the sun here before I put the camera on, it's got to 11%. And 11% might be enough for me to make a brew on the induction stove. Let's risk it for a biscuit or a coffee. We're not doing it by halves on this trip. We're having proper coffee. Or we're going to attempt proper coffee. Was it? Right, let's go for it. 10%, 46 watts coming in, 600 watt going out. Maths wise, 10% is 120 watt hours. So that should give me 10-minute run time. That should be enough. I don't think we're getting no coffee. Oh, we've got coffee starting to come. Slowly. And apparently we've got 5% left. We've done it, and we've still got 4% left. So, flattened the batteries last night, charging the bike, and cooking on induction for dinner. We've stopped on the way back. We've got the solar panels out, the bike's there, panniers on there, and just this morning alone, I've been able to just charge enough for it to make me a brew. Success. Cheers. This trip is meant to be nothing more than a silly concept. If you wanted to do this and go bike camping with an e-bike, probably easy to get a second battery, take a gas stove, a lot lighter. But of course I've got all the equipment to do that if I wanted. But it was more to be a silly idea and see if we can make it work. And to be honest, it's worked really quite well. I mean, the power banks, Bluetti's AC60 and the B80 extra battery has worked exactly as I wanted them to. And the form factor of them and the fact that they're IP65 rated, so I can bring them out into an outside environment and not get worried about destroying them, is fine. And then I thought I'll bring some solar panels, that'd be a bit silly, and actually it's worked quite well because I've gathered enough energy this morning from the Scottish sun to make a coffee on a bike trip. So for the Bluettis, they performed as expected. They do a variety of these sizes of units, big ones, small ones. This is a medium one with a larger additional battery. So if you're interested in the Bluetti ones, find the link in the description below. But the trip's not over yet, we've still got to get back. I'm going to enjoy my well-harvested brew. Then we'll get the bike packed up again and we'll pedal back. After I've just finished making my brew, the clouds have gone away and we've got good sunlight again. So let's get this chip back on for a little bit. I'll tell you what, this walk feature on a heavy bike is really quite helpful. I just think the setup looks cool. Got the panels on. Right, we do need to start packing up. But whilst we've just been waiting in camp, what's it currently bringing in? 135 watt. Right, it is time to pack up and get on our way. So this final little bit of a few kilometres back to the start has quite a few steep, very steep gravel roads. I don't think I'm going to get up it on the bike with the weight on the back of it. So we might be using the walking feature and pushing, but we'll give it a go. Oh. In my looking up at the e-bikes and reading the specs things, I'm basically using it on pedal assist mode all the time, and it's got 5 settings. And I've been using it on 5. And I have to admit, whilst on steep hills, it is a little bit difficult to start, / impossible due to the weight. And I have to turn sideways a bit. I find if I push off slightly, and as long as I can get about a quarter of a crank, or maybe even less, and maybe half a second to a second, then I feel then the motor kicks in, and then it has no problem taking off on those steep hills. There's a dog walker just walking up the really steep section of gravel hill. The one which I know I'm not going to be able to get up, so I kind of want them to get to the top first, so I don't have to make a public tit of myself as I slowly slow down and stop and then have issues pushing the bike up the hill. I've just seen some free food. These are tasty. So this is wood sorrel, and it tastes a bit like the skin of a green apple, like really quite citrusy. You can put it on salads and stuff. It grows all in sort of these areas this time of year. Just don't pick ones right near the base of the trees, because that's where dogs piss. Right then, let's try and get up this hill. Right, speed! Come on! 207 miles per hour. 9 miles per hour. 8 miles per hour. Oh, we're in the gravel. Come on. Oh, we did it. Alright, that was a bit more effort. Got up it. I was still going 6-7 miles per hour up, but I think the motor's got the grunt for it, even with the weight. It's just me finding the balance on the pedals, because if I slow down, if I push too hard, I get tired, and eventually I run out of energy and I stop. And then if I slow down too much because I've worked too hard, then the motor stops doing pedal assist because I'm not pedaling. So I think the key is to find a balance of effort you can maintain. Come on then. All right, switch down gears, go get into another steep one. And just. But then again, I guess if you slow down too much, you lose the ability to balance. Oh dear, like that. I can't get it started on this hill. So, walk mode. Yeah. Slow push. I mean, we are walk assisting mode up the hill at 1 mile per hour, which will be some stress on the battery in the motor, I imagine. There we go. Okay. I thought I'd just show you how I've been filming most of this. DJI mic there. But when I'm not using it, the controller's actually got a USB, so I can plug in my phone and charge the phone whilst I'm riding. I will say, for someone who doesn't like cycling, this bike is a lot of fun. I have no interest in cycling. It's never interested me. Riding around an e-bike has given me the freedom to go explore places quick and easy and have a great fun. Yes, I won't be using the pannier all the time or the power banks, but just be able to quickly go out and blast. So from going to not enjoying cycling to actually really enjoying going out on this bike, I'm very happy. And that's pretty much the end of the video. Bike back was another 25 kilometers, and the battery at the end was 41% or around that. So used a little bit less energy on the way back, probably because there was more downhill than there was uphill. So if you've enjoyed this video, and if you've liked what you've seen, so me mucking around with the Bluetti power banks or the Cyrusher Ovia bike, then check out the description below. You might find some links to look at both those items. And if you've liked this style of video, where opposed to me doing a bog standard review of looking at a product, that I use a collaboration to facilitate some sort of adventure or some silly project. If you like that style of video, then please put that in the comments below, and hopefully we can do some more. If you've enjoyed this sort of stuff, feel free to leave me a comment. If you want to subscribe to the channel and see some other ridiculous things where I've made boats out of power banks, I've taken my van to the Arctic for 2 winters, and many other silly adventures along the way, feel free to have a wee look and subscribe if you want to see more. But thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye. I should probably show you the bike without the pannier rack on. And that's it in its naked form. So my pannier rack is just mounted to the original bike's pannier rack, which has got your normal rails for putting your bags on and some threaded bolts on the top. So I've just bolted my extra pannier rack on top of it, and that works no problem at all.